Guy, you said he was gonna be here at 7:30, right? Like, where he at? Showbiz. These people there.
Sorry.
Sir.
Sorry about that. I was out there fighting crime. Might be a little dusty.
You just decided to drop on in.
Well, I mean, that was the fastest way for me to get here. You know, I can fly and all that.
Oh, okay, that's great. You ready?
I'm ready. I mean, are you ready?
I've been here.
Look, I don't like your attitude, lady.
Are you gonna beat me up?
I'm not gonna
Because
beat you
I'm
up.
from Baton Rouge.
Well, you know, y'all need some help here in Baton Rouge, and that's what I'm here.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Well, you know. If you're scared of a superhero, just let me know. I know it's my presence that might have you a little bit nervous.
I ain't never scared.
Well, you are from Baton Rouge. I heard you were from Indiana, though. I don't know. Are you really from Baton Rouge?
You're a hater.
Hey, wow. I'm
Dope.
offended.
Dope smack.
Yes, ma'am.
Psh, psh.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
What's up, everybody? It is your girl, Drea Kay. I'm back with a brand new episode of Let's Tell a Story. I have here Mr. Joe Mexican, director extraordinaire. You may have seen him on many Baton Rouge classics, but I'm going to give him a chance to explain himself and introduce himself. So,
Well, first of all, don't call me Mister, because that makes me sound old a little bit. So let's get that.
Joe Mexican.
Just Joe Mexican. Yeah. Even though I'm a little older.
You ain't old.
Well, no, I don't look old, but you know, I got some years under my belt. But yeah, so what do you want to know? I forgot what the question was.
No, I want to know everything. Like, who are you? What do you
Well,
do?
Joe Mexican is, first of all, my name. Everybody asks me about my name and why Joe Mexican. They think it's a racist thing. I mean, it's just who I am, you know. When I was in high school, I used to like playing basketball, and people, you know, would pick me out of, you know, the lineup, you know, and it's just mostly black dudes playing with me, and that was kind of like, it was like two white dudes and me, you know, and it was like, yeah, I want that white boy, and I was like, wait, bro, I ain't white. Like, you know, I like being Mexican. I love, you know what I'm saying? So, funny thing is like, oh, my bad, bro, the black boy. I was like, nah, I'm not black either. I'm not trying to be black. I'm just Mexican, you know? So they were like, okay, we're going to call you Joe Mexican. And that's how it kicked off, which is funny. I've seen some of the guys that called me, that gave me the name recently, you know, and they're doing big things themselves, you know what I'm saying? Not in this industry, but they're, you know, they're doing a lot of moving. So anyway, that was how I came about.
So you direct, you film, all of that.
Yes, I'm I guess a passionate kid wanna-be director. You know, like when I was 5 years old, I used to always want to be a director. And I don't know, you know, I don't know what made me start, you know. I remember the first movie I ever watched in the movie theater was The Exorcist.
Out of all movies.
Out of all movies, my parents took me to watch The Exorcist, and I was traumatized for a good while. But I don't know if that's what started it. You know, I would always say I wanted to be a director. I wanted to do films. I wanted to be behind the camera and be able to create, you know. Back then, I didn't know one single lick of it. My first intent at directing was in middle school. Everybody had this, like, assignment where you had to do a play, right? You had to write a play or redo a play and all that stuff. And and I came to the teacher and I was like, hey, can I do like a film? Can I just like, instead of being in front of everybody, which I have like people anxiety, you know, I don't like being on stage. Well, I didn't like back then, but you know, I would get really dizzy.
Nervous.
No, I would get dizzy in the middle on stage if I was on stage doing certain things. So, you know, he said yes, and I shot Dracula. Yeah, with all like my little classmates, and yeah, that was my first attempt. This is when I was like 12, 13, maybe 14. I was in middle school.
What was the feedback from that? Like that being your first thing?
It was horrible. You know, I mean, it was my first attempt at doing films, but you know, it's just like anything. The more you do it, the better you get at it. You know what I'm saying? And I never stopped wanting to do that, even though after, you know, me being in the entertainment industry didn't come in the film industry. It came in the form of music, you know. And back in 1997, 98, I started a record label with a few artists, you know what I'm saying? I was 19 years old. I didn't know what I was doing either, you know. Yeah. But, you know, it was, you know, I learned a lot from that. And, you know, that I guess that was my little ball that started rolling that got me into film and being who I am today, you know.
So being around those artists and being in that industry, that kind of inspired you to do your own thing with music?
Well, actually, I was already doing my own thing. You know what I'm saying? So I got back in 2000, and it was 1998. Yeah, I was 19 years old. I got married. I was like 19 years old. I got married. You know, I won't go with that story. It was a crazy story. I don't know. You know, all my family were like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, you know, now I'm like, "Yeah, what the hell was I doing?" I don't know.
It's fine.
But that's how I met my brother-in-law. He was a artist. You know, he was writing his little raps. He was in high school, and you know, they weren't really recording. And when I saw him doing that, I was like, man, you know, I want to help you. You know, let me manage you. Let me, I'll pay for studio time. I'll do this. So I started taking him to studios and recording songs. And once I saw how everything worked, you know, I was like, I could do this. You know what I'm saying? So this is 1998. I bought my first recording equipment. You know, I bought computers. I bought everything I needed to start recording. And I set off to, you know, started doing beats and producing for my artists. And from there, just snowballed. And I mean, I was making a living. You know, before that, I had a regular job. Yeah. You know, and when that happened, I started making a living doing something that I would wake up at 7 in the morning and just start producing beats. You know, it's like, and I would stay doing that all the way to 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, you know, it's just like, and I just got into it. I loved the creation process. Yeah.
Yeah, so the creation process of like the music and putting it all together.
Right.
Did that eventually lead to the video production?
Well, what happened was, it's me meeting artists, you know, because we were neighborhood stars, you know what I'm saying? We had a lot of following, you know, to this day, I'll meet somebody, you know, like random place. I was in Pensacola, and this guy comes to me, he's like, bro, I know you. You're Joe Mexican, bro. You used to produce music, bro. I used to have all your CDs, you know? We came out with like 2 or 3 little neighborhood CDs, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, bro, like, it was kind of amazing to me because I didn't really feel like we had any success, you know? But, you know, back to take it back in 2003, I met Cain and Abel, who was No Limit artists that actually spun off and did their own thing. They started, what was the name of their label? Most Wanted Records. And through Most Wanted Records, they put out a few hits like Shake That Dog, Shake It Like a Dog. You don't remember that? Okay, well.
Kind of young.
Make me sound a little old here. But no, that was their beginning, you know what I'm saying? And I think they learned everything they could from Master P, and they applied it themselves, and they started producing films. Their first film was The Block Party, huge film, and they broke a new kind of, I guess, doorway for everybody that nowadays is producing these low budget films and making a living out of it, you know? I mean, it sold 150,000 copies nationwide. Yeah, so
that's pretty good.
That's really good, especially for your first movie.
Right.
And you know, I came with them. I started doing sound, you know, but in the back of my mind, I was always like, man, like, I don't just want to do sound. This is like my opportunity to learn everything I need to learn to take it to the next level, you know. So I probably worked with them since 2003 to 2004. Man, I must have worked with them for like 5 years. I don't really exactly remember all the dates. I'm really bad at dates.
No,
but
so it was a while. And,
it was a while, yeah.
So did that eventually lead to your radio career? You did say that you were on the radio for a few years. So did it eventually move on into that?
Well, it didn't. No, the radio thing was, I was actually doing it simultaneously. Like, I was doing films, and then the radio was, because with my production and stuff, it got to a point to where I was like, man, all the artists I was working with, nobody really had the drive like I did, you
Yeah.
know? Like I would go to club, I could go in any club back in the day and they would let me in for free. Everybody knew Joe Mexican, you know? But they didn't really know my artists because they weren't at the forefront. They weren't really showing their face, but I was the one passing their CDs, passing the flyers, talking to DJs, talking to the club owners, making all the networks, you know? So every time I walked into the club and they knew me, and I kind of like went to thinking, I sat down and started thinking, look, I think what I need to do is create my own music. Because I was investing all this money and nothing of it was coming back. You know, I remember, you know, printing out thousands of flyers to pass out and going to, you know, after the event, I'll go to the guy's house and the flyers are sitting on his desk. And I was like, bro, like, you know, it's a waste of my money. Like, but it wasn't their money, you know, but, you know, and I'm sure, you know, they're doing their thing still, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no love lost, you know, I still, you know, they're still, you know, cool or whatnot. You know, if I see them, I'm gonna, you know, talk to them and have a big conversation. But,
What up?
you know, when it comes to business, you know, I felt like I was like, man, I lost a lot back then. But that being said, when I was doing my music, and I was, well, you know what? You're right. Cain and Abel got an interview with LatinRapper.com. LatinRapper.com was a website I brought in 90 million views a month. Yeah, it was like the biggest rap website, and the guy who owned it was from here in Baton Rouge. He's still my friend. Like me and him, like are tight. Like
Go way
you know,
back.
yeah, like that's like my brother from another mother. You know what I'm saying? So he's actually part Cuban, and that's why he started the Latin rapper thing. You know, and whenever, you know, they reached out to me and they're like, hey, you know, send this guy, because I was doing graphics too for them, you know what I'm saying? So send this guy some graphics. So I send this guy some graphics. I don't know the guy. He's like, you know, they told me his name and I was like, well, I don't know this guy, whatever. I'll send it to him. And then from having a conversation with him, he was like, man, say, you want to be on the radio? I was like, the radio? I was like, yeah, man, just come and, through conversation, he found out I was doing music myself. So he was like, come and host with me, because he had just started like maybe 5 months before that. He had started working at the radio station with a show called Fuego, which was, you know, the Hispanic Max 94.1's attempt to attract the Hispanic community, you know what I'm saying, through urban music, you know what I'm saying? And so what happens is, you know, he wanted me to come just like one time as a guest. And I came in there and the ratings were so good with me on there, and the chemistry between me and him was so good that he was like, hey, bro, would you like doing this with me, like, just on a regular basis? And, you know, I was like, yeah, hell yeah. You know, I was excited to. I've never been on the radio in that form, and that, you know, that was history. We did 5 years on the radio, and, you know, I miss it sometimes. You know, it's certainly, it's not a lot of money in radio, but it's certainly its own monster, you know?
So around that time, it was about 2005, 2006, in that area.
Right.
So it was a lot of things going on in Baton Rouge. There was a lot of things, the club scene, music.
Yeah.
A lot of local artists were kind of bubbling at that time. Who was somebody that you enjoyed just working with, whether that would be just talking on the radio or producing music for, or whatever your talents offered at the time?
I didn't really produce a lot of music for, I did some music for Cain and Abel. I did a couple of, you know, I had like a compilation with artists. Like I just reached out. This is the MySpace era.
Yeah.
So with MySpace, I had a network of artists all over the nation. And so I reached out to all these artists and I put this project called Underground Hustlers. You know, and these Underground Hustlers went on to sell 10,000 copies nationwide, you know, and I did that through Cain and Abel's distribution company, which, by the way, I never got paid for it, but, you know, yeah, I never saw a dollar. I just knew, you know, whatever, but, you know, that's not the most money I've ever lost, you know, but I did, you know, it's kind of like if you don't know the business, you're going to learn real quick how the business works, you know, so. Yeah. Having contracts in place is always the best thing to do, you know, and learning how to read the contracts, you know. Yeah. So
learn how to do that myself.
Exactly. So you could get jacked real quick.
So you eventually got into video production and directing. What was your
Right.
first opportunity to do so?
Oh wow, my first opportunity. I got into directing music videos. So I'm gonna tell you the true story, right? Dealing with the film industry, it was really shisty. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people making money. You were making some money, but a lot of times, people would try to play you, and I was like, man, I got tired of it, So what I did, I was like, I'm just gonna, just like I started music, I saw people doing this thing and I saw a lot of bad things happening, just like shisty stuff that people would do. And I said, I'm gonna do this myself. So that's what I did with the music videos. I was like, I learned so much. And I was like, I don't really need them to jump onto the next stage of my life. You know what I'm saying? So I took off by, just reaching out to all the artists I knew and just being like, hey, you want a music video, man? I'll do it for the low. And boom, I got a lot of people biting it. And this is back before you had people charging $300 for music videos, The low on a music video back then, you're talking about $5,000, $6,000, $7,000.
Wow.
So I was actually put in productions because I came from the production, the film world, how it works, the amount of people that it took to actually put something together. And it still takes a lot of people, but, some people just do it by themselves and it's, it's all right. But, if you really want a big production, you want to make it look big, you need a team.
Right.
And everybody has to get paid. You can't be the only one getting paid, Because I know some people that will hire somebody, well, not hire, they just get interns and it's like, not getting paid. So that's what made me, take off and just get that new snowball rolling, after, doing my record label and after the radio and after the movies, my bread and butter was music videos, back then. After a while, it just got washed down, everybody jumped on the bandwagon and everybody was doing music videos and everybody, and, I can't take nothing from somebody who has a passion of doing something and wants to learn to do something, And I said, I've never seen it that way. I don't want to be like a hater, like, oh man, this dude over there not trying to do what I do, even though some people, a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh man, look, this dude's trying to do what you're doing. This dude's doing, he did your move. He's doing, I just have I see myself as I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Originator.
Innovator.
Innovator. I'm a transcender. Trendsetter. Yeah, I'm a trendsetter.
Yeah.
So I don't try to copy people, and I kind of stopped watching music videos. Like I don't want to see nobody's music videos because I don't want to have an idea that is kind of like
copy paste.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to. If they had a good idea, I don't want to take that from them. I don't want to be like, sometimes great minds think alike, and an idea might come to me to where they like already done it, you know what I'm saying? But at least I'm gonna put my own twist. It's not gonna be the same exact thing, And all I can say is like give props to everybody that's doing it and making a living out of it, because this thing ain't easy, This thing
and it ain't
easy.
quick.
No, it ain't quick either. It's man, I got 20 years of doing this stuff, So when they see my quality and everything, it just took a lot of work. And I also, one of the reasons why I retired from doing music videos is because the amount of work that I put into it was not really, they didn't really appreciate what I do. Artists don't really see me sitting at home for like 2-3 weeks. They want the video tomorrow. Such and such gives it, turns it out tomorrow. And I was like, well, I can see that he only took a day to edit it. Because even though I take like, my process is I always do a rough cut. I rough cut the whole video, and I send it to the artist and I'm like, okay, tell me what shots you don't like about this. Because, I want the artist to always be happy.
Right.
That was my, tell me what you don't like about this. And they'll look at the stuff and be like, well, I don't like this, I like that. And some of them are like, oh man, it's great the way it is. And I'm like, nah, it's not. This is my rough cut. You know what I'm saying? So once they tell me what they don't like, if they don't give me any notes, then I'll do a polish. And my polish is what takes the most, because I'll go in there and really focus on the things that I want to, you know, make sure that the audience sees.
So when you were creating music videos and shooting and everything like that, what was something that you looked for in that whole creative process? Like, as a visionary, what were you looking to display in all of your work?
Well, everything's different, you know. Like I see every song. Like the first thing that, and I'm not saying that every song I've done was the greatest song. You know, sometimes it was just like a money thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Back in the day, everybody needs money. I'm like, hey, an artist comes to you and they got this much money. You're like, damn, I gotta do this song. I don't really like the song.
Gotta pay a bill.
You know what I'm saying? Sorry about it. You know, it is what it is. But I listen to the songs 100 times. You know what I'm saying? I'll put it on my headphones and I'll jam to the song if I really like it. You know, and that's where I start thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? I start thinking about visuals, and you know, I usually close my eyes when I do it, or I'm driving. You know, I want to close my eyes when I'm driving, but it gives me a vision of where I want the song to go, and then I write it out. You know, writing it out is the most important thing, because then you have a plan already. You have a map of what you're gonna put on camera.
Yes, that's important.
Very important.
That's also with being an artist, being somebody who, you know, raps and sings and everything like that. Like, a lot of times artists, they lack vision.
Right.
They lack vision. They just, you know, do the creative part and everything like that. But for the people out here that are, you know, actually pursuing that, what is some more advice that you can give them while they're, you know, trying to just figure it out? Because I know you were in radio, you were doing this creative thing. You're a jack of all trades, right? So what is some advice that you would give artists and videographers right now?
Advice. Well, that's a difficult. I don't know. I'm not good at giving advice, you know, especially because when I do give advice, nobody takes the advice.
You're
an
expert. We have to take your advice.
I mean, sure, but nobody takes advice. You know?
Somebody's gonna take your advice.
All right, so if you're an artist, or you know, or upcoming artist, don't let your ego, get in the way of you becoming something big. You know, I've worked with a lot of artists, you know, that their ego was so big, they thought they were already the biggest thing out there, you know. And you gotta have confidence as an artist, you know what I'm saying? You gotta know that you're good at what you do, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm good at what I do. I'm not really, you know, always, you know, I don't want to say, is this a kid's show? Well, I know we have some kids around here. Yeah, I don't want to say the words I want to, but I'm not really showing myself out to the, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the biggest thing, but I'm like, you know, I got a lot of experience. I'm confident. Whenever you're on set with me, I know what I'm going to do. You know, I already take charge of sets that, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people get kind of intimidated when they come on set. So as an artist, you know, myself as a director, I'm not so egotistic that I'm gonna tell, like, an artist. If an artist comes to me and they come with an idea and they're like, hey, what do you think about this? You know, I'm not gonna shut them down. You know, I'm always like listening. I'm like, okay, will that work for what we're doing? You know, and I'll always give them a reason. It's like, nah, that ain't gonna work because of this or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But if it's a good idea, I'll always go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I'm not the only person with creative, you know,
ideas and stuff.
Ideas, yeah. So and it's their video. Sometimes, you know, some artists might get played if you tell them, nah, man. You know, they'll feel played. Yeah, they'll get in their feelings. But you know, as a director, is also, you're paying me to produce something. You know, because they see my work and they're like, man, I want you to do this. You know, and some artists are good at just listening to the plan. You know, like when I'm directing, like they're good at letting me direct them. But some artists are not. You know. And, you know, as a director, some advice is always be open to that. You know what I'm saying? You can't shut any doors down because you don't even know. I'm going to tell you a true story. You know, I was in a certain position of my life where I was like, I was stressed out by the amount of work and the amount of money I was getting. And, you know, I was making enough money to couldn't take little gigs, you know what I'm saying? So it was just a waste of my time if I took little gigs. And one time, my brother Lakeith hits with Lakeith, hits me up, and he's like, bro, I'm gonna have this little artist I'm working with. I'm gonna have him call you because they want to do a music video, you know? And he calls me, and I'm like, you know, hey man, I go by Young Boy. And he starts talking to me, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, I want to do a music video and blah, blah, blah. He tells me all the spiel, and I was like, okay, well, what's your budget? He's like, well, you know, I don't really got a lot of money, and I don't even remember how much he offered me. And I was like, bro, look, I can't really touch it, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't really an ego thing. It was, you know what I'm saying? But I look back at situations like that where if you have the ability to help somebody, you know what I'm saying? You don't ever know where they're going to be next, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You know what I'm saying?
Because that right there, Young Boy,
yeah. And,
like
that's a funny story. I've never really I don't tell that story to many people, because they're going to be like, man, this dumb, But,
No, that's important.
It is, it's a learning experience for, And me looking back, I don't know, would it have made me who I am today? I don't know if it would have changed anything. I've worked with a lot of artists, but you also have to be confident in what, your mistakes, and pretty much own your own mistakes so that you can, in the future, use that on your next step.
Yeah. So once you've done your thing in music and done your thing in radio and music videos and working with artists and everything like that, you got the opportunity to shoot a documentary called Thuggin' It and Lovin' It.
Right, yes.
Please tell the people how that opportunity came about.
Did that even happen? I don't know.
What was that experience for you?
Well, I was kind of used to being in the hood. I knew a lot of people from the hood, so I pretty much came up in CC Lockdown. That's where my brother Lakeith's from. So I lived there with his mom and some of his relatives. So everybody in CC Lockdown knew me. So I wasn't, scared of being in the hood or nothing like that. So when I met Triggerman, who is the producer of Thuggin' It and Lovin' It, he came to me and he had already shot all this footage, And the first one I edited it. That's all I did. He had already shot all the footage. I put it all together, and then he came to me and he's like, man, I want you to shoot the second one. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. I thought it was going to be, especially after seeing the success of the first one, we went on and produced the second one. And I've never liked a gun being pointed at me, being behind the camera. I've seen some really bad accidents that way. But, I always made sure, what I'm saying, like because the guns were blank guns, you know what I mean?
That's what they say.
So it's there. So it was it was just one of those things where learning from film, you learn all the stuff that you need to do to be safe on set. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't really scared of all of that, and most of the people were people I knew or he knew, and so I mean it was. I didn't expect the type of, I guess, exposure that movie was gonna get.
It's a classic.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Definitely.
For sure.
A Baton Rouge classic.
A Baton Rouge classic, and we're talking about releasing the HD version because this was on DVD. Back then there was no HD, but we have the HD versions to re-release it. Maybe on some of the bigger platforms that you know about, So I'm actually in talks with him.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, y'all heard it? Exclusive.
Exclusive.
Hello. So after that, you shoot a documentary. You've had this passion for creation and production and things like that. When did you start making your own stuff, your own videos, your own movies, your own films and things like that?
Well, after a while, I felt like what I was doing, it was kind of like a machine, It's just like putting out stuff, and I didn't really feel like I was, like my dream was being fulfilled. I was fulfilling everybody else's dream, And besides, I did some acting back in the day when I was doing films. They always be like, hey, you want to be on this film? I'm working already on it. And they wouldn't have to pay me. And I guess that's why they got me. And I was like, man, I really like being in front of the camera as well. So I kind of decided, I was in a certain position where I didn't need to work for nobody to make money. You know what I'm saying? I'm just getting, money from the mailbox. So it's kind of like, now I'm in the position where I can actually focus on doing something for myself and following my dream and just focus on that. A lot of people, came at me like, man, how are you going to quit now? And I'm not quitting, I am retiring from doing film, but I'm jumping to something bigger, of not film, music videos. And I'm jumping into something bigger and something, more fulfilling to me. Yeah.
So what was your first film that you did?
Well, film that I directed is a film called, but I didn't know this film. They just hired me to direct it. It was called Exit 14. So it was a horror film. And I shot it in my good friend John Schneider's camp in Holden. And, they gave me a budget. And they say, look, take this budget and make this film in 6 days. And you only have 12 hours to shoot every day. So my gears went on working every day because it's the script was like 120 pages, right? And to make that type of film in only 6 days is a big challenge. And anybody who's been in film knows that independent filmmakers, the less days you work, the less money your budget is going to be spent. So you're going to meet your budget. So we ended up meeting our budget, and I did a lot of creative decisions throughout the film to make sure that the film was produced. Otherwise, we weren't going to make it, right? So, so the film got shot, and I didn't edit the film. So that producer ended up editing the film, but he wasn't there every day to see what we shot, to put it together like it was supposed to be. See, he didn't really understand. He's reading the script, and he's like, man, there's things that this, what the hell? He didn't really, and I would be doing the same thing. Like, if you give me a script and you give me footage and it doesn't match, but that's because he wasn't there in the filming of the movie. So what happens is he edits it, and the final outcome was just not the movie that I shot. See, and to shoot a horror film, you have to have a special type of talent. I guess I got that talent from watching The Exorcist.
Your first.
My first movie was The Exorcist, right? So, I think that's what made me say, forget everything. I really need to focus on what I need to own my own IP, which is another advice for people. Always own your own IP, because at the end of the day, you always be getting money.
Look, Louisiana Dagmar.
What's up, y'all? This your girl Nella B, coming back with a very, very cute piece from Ain't No Going Back. This is the baby pink hoodie with the glitter decal, It's very cute, very lightweight, very comfortable. I'm pairing it with low ones, baby pink for my ladies who like the sneakers. You can really dress it up, if you want to wear some heels or something with it. This is a little bit oversized. This is a large I'm wearing with some cute distressed shorts for my ladies for a quick little outfit of the day. Make sure y'all go follow him, Ain't No Going Back, on Instagram. Make sure y'all go follow me, Nella B, on Instagram. That's Nella_A_B. Also, make sure y'all check out, the different pieces that he has, and reach out, But this is so cute. White decal with glitter, like I said, good cotton. It's very cute, y'all. I'm loving it. Thank you so much.
Yo, make sure y'all tune into our next episode of I Got Drink.
Well, we feature 4700 Lucha, 4700 Block. Yeah, I stand on that.
Make sure y'all tune in. We have a really great episode lined up. We're going to be featuring some really good alcohol, from birthday cake, white raspberry chocolate, all the way to an alcohol that's made right here in downtown Baton Rouge. So make sure you follow the host, XOXO_ yours truly.
IGOTTRAKZ.
And again, our guest.
4700 Lucha, 4700 LUCCI.
And the network, The Antidote, and I Got Drink TV. We're on all the social media platforms, all the streaming platforms, so stay tuned. Bye.
So your recent work, your recent documentary, Diamonds in the Dirt. Tell us about that.
Ooh, Diamonds in the Dirt. Man, that was just the hardest work I've done as a filmmaker.
How so?
In a long time. Well, it took 2 years of our lives just sitting in front of a computer. I wasn't shooting much, and when I was, I go shoot and I come back and I'll edit all day. And it was a lot of, it was just tedious work, finding the shots that you need and finding footage from people, and shout out to people like Frog and Troy the Trigger Man, and all the people that gave us footage to make the documentary happen. Just besides doing all the little interviews, it was, you needed a lot more to make this film come to life. And documentaries aren't easy to make, I'll tell you that. Yeah. But I think it's one of the most, one of the projects that makes me the most proud to be a part of, because not only that, but the history of that project, I feel like I was kind of like intermixed with a lot of, because I was rubbing shoulders with a lot of the people that are in the documentary, from way in 1998, so from being in the music industry.
So what was the inspiration behind that?
Well, I think I wasn't the one that came up with the idea. It was Max Minnelli and then Matt Keith. They both kind of wanted to do this documentary, and then they kind of talked to each other, and they were like, hey, man, why don't we just put our forces together? You know what I'm saying? And Matt Keith, which is one of the godfathers of filmmaking in Baton Rouge, like producers, like real films, he came to me, from working with him, and he's like, he knew my skills. He's like, right, you're the only one that can make this happen, And they brought all this footage to me, and they're like, boom, this is what we have. I was like, wow. Okay, so, so we had to make a plan, because in documentaries, you usually don't really have a script. And they didn't have a script, so it was more like I'd guide them and be like, look, this is what we need to do, you know what I'm saying? This is how you structure it if you want to make it happen. And, Max Minnelli set, and I remember Max Minnelli would come every day and sit in his car and write like what he wanted to put down, and then he'll record it in my little makeshift studio at my house. Well, it's my little office, and we just made it into a studio, and he's recording all the voiceovers on there, and then we'll slap that onto the edit table and then just start cutting from there, and then from there, we had to find all the footage that overlaid all of that. So, he had a vision, that came to me, and we mixed all of our talents together, and it just made freaking diamonds, diamonds in the dirt.
Well, I'm pretty sure we're excited to see that. It's actually out right now, right?
Yes, you can go and watch it on Tubi or Amazon Prime, and there's like 100 other little platforms that is all over the world, but that's the main two that we're really proud that we're on. So.
So you have another project out. Tell us about that one.
Which one? Well, I have a reality show that's out called Beyond the Sash. Another thing that I don't like doing is reality shows, even though,
Why not?
Oh man, they're tough. They're just like documentaries, It's like filming all day. Not really into that. But the biggest thing and the most, I think this is my favorite. It's just my what do they call that? Love project? Hold on.
My passion project.
My passion project. Yeah, it's dope smack. It's a superhero movie. A movie that me and Kikalai Giallo took 6 months, 8 months to write. And not just write, writing is all about developing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why it takes so long. I mean, you can sit there, we wrote the first draft in a week, but we wanted to develop the characters. You know what I'm saying? You want to have a good movie, you want to have a good story, it all has to be developed, and it's not easy to develop the character inside a story that you have to develop. But you have to, in your vision, understand how a plot works, so that at the end, your movie is not just a whole bunch of scenes slapped together.
Yeah.
It's actually a story, and that story depicts the characters. And this movie, Dope Smack, nobody's ever really read it. The script is really good. It's based out of New Orleans, a superhero in a city where they need a superhero. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention Baton Rouge, which
We definitely need him.
well, and Dope Smack is gonna be doing appearances in Baton Rouge here and there throughout the comic book, because we actually spinned that concept into a comic book, which will be released in December. The movie doesn't start shooting until probably February, but the comic book, I just wanted to build a fan base, actually.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I tested out. I really developed this film. I got a super suit. I have, the story. I have a studio set up at my house where I'm gonna shoot all the, special effects. And it's just, I wanted to create a fan base for it, because I think that I showed the concept to a few people and they loved it. So I was like, man, let me test this out. I got this suit made professionally, man. I mean, everywhere I go, they're like, damn, where you get that suit? It's like, I spent a pretty penny to get it done, bro. So, you might not get it at the store, but it's exclusive. So I went to the Baton Rouge mini-con, and I had kids following me around. It was just like, I knew that I had something in my hands that was gonna make something. You know what I'm saying? It's just watching, even I had some old dudes just following me around taking pictures, and I was like, and talking to me the whole time. And I'm not weirded out about it, but I was kind of weirded out about it because I'm not used to, an old man following me around. But I just think that they loved the character that I created, and they were just asking me so many questions about it. You know what I'm saying? So many questions that I even haven't developed. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I've developed this whole story in the first film, but they're like, and asking me questions in the future. It's like, man, you gotta, little by little, it's like, but yeah, I think that's gonna be one of the biggest things that comes out of Baton Rouge and Louisiana, since it's based from New Orleans, but the creation is here in Baton Rouge.
So you're on your DC comic, Marvel Studios type vibe right now? I would say, yeah, a little bit. I'm a fan. My favorite superhero movie was Batman when I was a kid. That was the first movie that I ever owned in a VHS tape, and I would play it every day when I came home from school. So much that I would recite the whole movie. Every line I would recite it with the movie as it went along, on time. It was kind of weird, I guess, if you look back at it, but, and I could still kind of do it. Like, if I put Batman, I'm reciting all the words, but I guess being a fan of that and seeing how they created that and being a filmmaker, it was only natural for me to fall into making a superhero film, I love horror films, don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of horror films, but the superhero films it's just another audience and another feel, especially when you're making them. We shot a teaser that, you got to see an exclusive of. You are not gonna see that yet. You can't see it, but, shooting that was, we're in the middle of New Orleans with live round guns shooting the superhero, and people are just standing around like, what the hell is going on? So, and they don't know who this character is, and one day, what I'm saying, I can't wait to people know who this character is, especially in New Orleans, because I think that kids, and there's a lot of kids just walking by like just interested, Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I think New Orleans needs something like Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying? When they made Spider-Man, thousands of people were lined up, you know what I'm saying? Just to see this little dude play a character that they've always dreamed of being, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's the biggest inspiration to me, you know what I'm saying, to give that to, you know, our state and the city of New Orleans and Baton Rouge.
Yeah, definitely. So, as an innovator, that's something that you're kind of dabbling into now. Like, you've done production, you've done all of these other things. As an innovator, that's kind of the direction that you're going in, like now and beyond.
Right, yeah. I mean, I have other films, actually, you know, I'm not gonna even say their names yet because, you know, I haven't released them out to the world. You'll get to hear them one day. Yeah, I might be over here talking about them next time, maybe in a couple of years, because I gotta finish this superhero film. But I think that, you know, at this point in my life, I mean, I'm just being blessed enough to where I can, you know, develop my own stuff and create my own stuff without having, you know, a producer tell me, oh no, you can't do that, or you know, not being able to produce my vision and put it out to the world. You know what I'm saying?
So, with all of that being said, what is something that we can expect from you right now? Like, what can we expect from Joe Mexican?
I think just high-end entertaining content. You know, something that, you know, and you're gonna get to see me a lot on screen because, you know, Dope Smack is like not just my passion project, but it's my jumping into a main character, you know. And, you know, yeah, I don't have a lot of experience as an actor per se in cameras, you know, but I think that a lot of times, like, my learning from directing and, you know, you have to kind of already know how to be an actor in order to direct, you know. If you don't really understand the whole process, then you really are not going to be a good director, you know. So I'm using all that knowledge that I have to actually jump in front of camera and show people my talent, you know. And I did that with the little teaser that I showed you because that was me on the suit, you know.
Yeah.
So, and when it's funny because, you know, a lot of people just like, I paid all this money to the actors, to the casting directors, to the producers that built this. You know, even the DP, the gaffer, the police officer that we're watching as well, we're doing this. And all this money I spent, they didn't know what they were gonna what they were gonna witness, you know what I'm saying? And you weren't there, but so we have live fire, so I'm in front of this gun, not really, that you never shoot somebody in front of it, but you know, this guy's shooting me and you know what I'm saying, all my acting that happened, everybody's like, once that happened, everybody like, it came to life. They saw my vision. And I think that that's what I'm gonna bring, my vision. I get passionate about it, you know.
So, when does Dope Smack come out? When can we expect this excitement of just seeing your passion displayed?
Well, first, you're gonna see the comic book in December. It's gonna be in several different parts, you know, because it's a long story, and I want everybody to understand the story and where he comes from and why he does what he does, you know. Which Dope Smack, you know, his main line, it's kind of like a goofy line, but that's what makes him who he is, right? Dope Smack, his line is, you know, everybody's asking me, well, why? That's a horrible name, man. Why Dope Smack? It's like, because I'm a smack dope dealers with the fist of justice, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's like, just makes fun of him because, you know, he's a guy that wants to be a superhero, you know, and he comes up with this suit that, you know, makes him a vigilante, and he's out there busting drug dealers because the drug dealer killed his father. So the whole story, you know, yeah, that's his thing. Like, I gotta, you know, it's payback, but you know, he doesn't know that there's actually people with superpowers out there, you know, in his universe, of course, on our universe. But it kind of like, that's what inspired me to write it, because I always wanted to be a superhero when I was a kid, you know, watching Batman.
All?
Well, yeah, but did you dress up and you go outside and try to beat up people?
No, I didn't have the
No.
opportunity to do so. It was just in my mind.
It was in you. Well, I did it, you know, I literally had a backpack with all kind of gadgets, and I'd be climbing the trees waiting for somebody. That never happened, you know. I guess, you know, but I don't
Now you
even
gotta
know.
write about it.
Exactly, but I put that into, you know, I put all of that into this character. You know, I pretty much wrote myself into this character, and then I added the superpowers part. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would actually happen if you got superpowers? You know, what would you do? Like when you all your life you were trying to be a superhero, and you knew you weren't really gonna be a superhero,
Right.
you know? And then all of a sudden, boom, you got superpowers, and that's what happens in the film, you know. I hope I didn't give away too much, you know, because I want people to still watch the film.
No, I think it's very exciting. It seems very exciting. It's, waking up some creative juices on the inside of a lot of creatives.
Hopefully.
I really look forward to seeing it. So, where can everybody find you on social media if they want to work with you or get to know
Well, you can find me, let's see, Joe Mex A King on Instagram, or just look up Joe Mexican on Facebook. Or the website for Dope Smack is dopesmackuniverse.com. And Dope Smack Universe on Instagram as well. So y'all go follow. You know, it's you won't regret it. I could just say that.
It's very entertaining. I actually saw, I think you were doing it during COVID on your Instagram. You were like having these little parodies. You were portraying like little characters and different.
Yeah.
I was like, not Harry Potter. You're Harry Potter now?
I try to be everybody on it. You know, people were kind of hating. They saw so many of them. They're like, another one? But it's like, hey, man, let me be. You know what I'm saying? You post what you post. You don't have to follow me, but follow me, I guess. Yeah.
But no, you're overall creative, and this has been another episode of Let's Tell a Story. Dope Smack is coming out. I'm excited. The people are excited, and yeah, that's a wrap.